Okay, it's really just about a mother who is protecting her daughter, little daughter, from a doll that's possessed by a demon.
This is a part 2 of the video we did on horrible things that happen on horror movie sets. Annabelle. Annabelle is a prequel to The Conjuring and the second installment in the Conjuring universe. The first Annabelle movie was released in 2014 and was directed by John R. Leonetti. John R. Leonetti claims to have experienced his fair share of supernatural occurrences while on set. According to him, the first time was when he saw 3 fingers drawn through the dust on set multiple times. This is disturbing because the haunted doll the movie is named after only has 3 fingers. There was another incident which was almost fatal to cast members. The incident occurred when they shot their first scene with the demon actor Joseph Bishara. They were shooting in an old apartment building near Koreatown in Los Angeles. Joseph Bishara took the elevator to go to where the other actors were. But as he was walking down a hallway, a giant glass light fixture fell on the actor's head who was playing a janitor. What makes it more scary is the fact that in the script, that is where the demon kills the janitor. Another movie from the Conjuring universe is The Nun and Corin Hardy. The director of the movie also experienced such occurrences. During shoots of the movie, he saw 2 men in the room at the Romanian castle where he was filming. He had not given it much thought and assumed them to be just crew members. After completing a take, he turned to the men, but they were gone. What is scary is that they would have to pass him to leave the room. The Poltergeist. One movie that is famous for such horrible experiences is the 1982 movie The Poltergeist. The Poltergeist movie is rumored to have been cursed. According to beliefs, the reason for this curse is the decision made by Steven Spielberg and Tobe Hooper to use real skeletons in one of the scenes. The filmmakers decided to use real skeletons in the scene where Jo Beth Williams' character falls into a swimming pool filled with skeletons, since using real ones would be cheaper than buying fake ones. At the time, even the actress didn't know that the skeletons were actually real. It is also believed that the curse grew stronger because of the deaths of multiple cast members. In total, 4 cast members died during the filming and soon after the filming of the series. Carol Ann Freeling, the young protagonist of the trilogy, was played by Heather O'Rourke, and she was only 6 years old when the first Poltergeist film was released. Sadly, she was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease in 1987. The following year, she got sick again and was misdiagnosed with simply having the flu. But one day later, she collapsed and suffered a cardiac arrest. She passed on that day while undergoing surgery to remove a bowel obstruction. Dominique Dunn, who originally portrayed Dana Feeling, the older sister, suffered a similarly unforeseen and tragic death. Dominique's ex, John Sweeney, with whom she had recently severed relations, visited her home in 1982 and begged her to take him back. He grabbed her neck and choked her until she was unconscious after she refused, at which point he dumped her in her driveway to die. Sweeney was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison, but was released after only 3 years and 7 months. Julian Beck played the evil preacher Cain from Poltergeist 2. After receiving a stomach cancer diagnosis in 1983, Julian passed away not long after completing the second installment of the series. Will Sampson, who played Taylor, the Native American shaman, passed away following a heart-lung transplant, which had an extremely low success rate, adding extra tragedy to the same movie. The cast of Poltergeist has continued to experience some of the most tragic events. It was rumored that Heather O'Rourke haunted another movie set. Although the 1990 movie Ghost is more of a movie about the afterlife than a horror movie, some people think that there may have been an actual supernatural presence on set. The sitcom Happy Days was filmed at Paramount Studios Stage 19 in the movie. In 12 episodes of the sitcom Happy Days, Heather played the lead role. Workers from the stage have encountered mysterious power failures and heard Heather-like laughter late at night. A security guard that worked the night shift at Stage 19 revealed the paranormal events that take place at the studio. The security guard claimed that almost every night he would hear running and laughing on the catwalk above the set, which is where Heather liked to play when she was on the set for Happy Days. Additionally, the security officer claimed that occasionally staff members would see the young girl playing on stage. The security guard responded that they usually just tell her to leave, and she leaves after being told to do so. When asked what they do when they see her, The ghost set wasn't any different, according to numerous crew members who claimed to have heard a young girl running and laughing as she walked over the stage. Rosemary's Baby. In the 1968 movie Rosemary's Baby, a struggling actor consents to let Satan access his wife's womb in exchange for a taste of fame. It became popular right away, but because of the movie's satanic implications, many people think it was cursed and that many of the cast and crew suffered terrible fates as a result. Let's start with the fact that Christoph Komeda, soundtrack composer, passed away in 1969 as a result of a fall from a rocky slope. He was in a coma for 4 months until he passed away. This extremely similar to the death of the character Hutch in Rosemary's Baby. But if anyone had been particularly affected by the alleged curse, it would have had to have been Roman Polanski, the film's director. Robert Evans, the film's producer who sought to get Mia Farrow the role of Rosemary, overruled his desire to cast his wife Sharon Tate as Rosemary. Sharon was instead cast as an unknown background figure in a single party scene. A year after the movie's debut, Tex Watson and a few Manson family members broke into the Los Angeles rental home where Sharon and a few others of her friends were staying. Charles Manson was the leader of the Manson family, a gang or cult that had operated in California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Sharon and all of her friends were killed by Tex Watson and the girls, who also gave the 4 victims a total of more than 100 piercing wounds. At the time, Sharon Tate was 8 months pregnant, but the alleged movie curse doesn't end there. Many people were unaware that the Dakota, a well-known New York structure that served as the exterior apartments in Rosemary's Baby, was also the scene of John Lennon's assassination. The Gothic design of the Dakota fit the movie perfectly because it is exactly how you would expect the home of witches to look like. Robert Evans, the producer, alleged that while filming there, he felt uneasy the entire time. After Rosemary's Baby was released, one of the producers, William Castle, claimed that during surgery he started to dream about scenes from the movie and even shouted, "Rosemary, for God's sake, drop that knife!" He later acknowledged in his autobiography that he was generally very frightened of Rosemary's Baby. Now let's look at all the horrifying things that happen at one of the most well-known horror movie sets. The Exorcist. Without a doubt, The Exorcist is one of the most well-known horror films of all time. Less well-known is the fact that it is also infamous for having a reportedly haunted set. The set for the McNeil's house catching fire is one of the most unsettling instances. There were several production delays on The Exorcist, but the first was by far the worst. In 1972, a bird flew into the circuit box. The set for Reagan's family home caught fire. The bedroom where the exorcisms would take place was the only piece of the set that remained, and the likelihood of that happening was extremely low. Due to this, the movie's production was considerably delayed, and filming took longer than expected. Following the incident, a real priest was requested to bless the set as it was being filmed. Chris McNeil's mother, Ellen Bernstein, had a spinal injury while being carried around on a harness. She claims she screamed for the cameras to stop recording and for them to stop pulling her, but all of her requests were ignored or disregarded. For the duration of the production, she was forced to use crutches. The movie's film of the moment she broke her lower spine generally happened, and the screams you hear then aren't just for effect, they're real cries of pain. The team, however, believed she was merely acting. The deaths connected to the film are the true movie's curse. They include Jack McGowan, who portrayed Burke Dennings, a film director. Jack unfortunately passed away from influenza-related complications before the movie's release. Prior to The Exorcist's release, Vasiliki Milarios, who played the father Damien Karras' mother, also passed away. She was said to have died of natural causes. In the movies, both of their characters passed away. Many members of the cast and crew, including Linda Blair, who portrayed Reagan, and Max von Sydow, who played Father Marin, lost loved ones over the course of the production. Additionally, while filming, Jason Miller's son, who played Father Karras, was in a fatal motorcycle accident. Can't get enough of these videos? Check out the next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.